from the consumers who have invested in Paytm, have believed in the future of the payment industry of India, for them it's a blow.
They have grown too fast, especially where it is a very highly regulated industry.
RBI did not come suddenly and tell them to do this. They have been following up with the Paytm Bank's ecosystem for over 2 years now. I think it's a lesson that is learned, and I'm sure Paytm is taking the necessary steps to mitigate this challenge.
Can you tell us what exactly happened, first of all, with Paytm Payments Bank? Give us your take on what's now going to happen to the consumers.
Paytm Payments Bank over time have been receiving a lot of deposits. Therefore, they are supposed to comply with certain sections of the RBI mandate, which they have faulted on for the last 1 year. If you see, RBI sent them a notice in 2022, and they then started doing their external audits and their compliance checks, and Paytm has faltered in that. There are several payment gateways, as you know today. You have Google Pay, which is what I use judiciously because it works very, very globally. There are PayUs and much more. But what Paytm has faltered on is when you receive the end consumer's money, there are several compliances and governance things that you have to be very, very particular about, and that is what they've not complied with. Now, there are two parts to the story. First, for the end consumer, I don't think there is anything to worry. What Paytm is trying to do now is to mitigate the process and tie up with institutional bankers to basically do the UPI transfers like Google Pay does right now, right? Because they also are not receiving the funds. They're just gateway. But from the consumers who have invested in Paytm, have believed in the future of the payment industry of India, for them it's a blow. So what it actually gives us as a perspective is, while the fintech revolution in India has happened, while the UPI revolution in India has happened, there's several compliance and regulatory checks and balances that still needs to be ticked off for us to stay in that big league and become the fintech hub that we want to propose to. So I think from the end consumers, this is just a short period of turmoil, but it will soon kind of mitigate. But there are many options. Go to a Google Pay or PayU. They're very quick in terms of their payment solutions, all integrated with UPI. But from an overall fintech perspective, I think it's a lesson that is learned, and I'm sure Paytm is taking the necessary steps to mitigate this challenge.
How does this really impact daily transactions? Because that's what on top of the mind of many, in fact, users like me, for example.
What the Section 35A of the Banking Regulation Act talks about is that the RBI has the mandate to ensure that the end consumer is always protected, and whatever payment solutions they're using have the necessary compliances and checks and balances in place. Now, what typically happens is if you just go ahead and swipe your Paytm app, your payments happen very, very quickly. But Paytm banks collect the cash. Right? They're not using a third-party institutional banker's gateway. Now, in Google Pay, what happens is it gets attached to an existing banking savings account of mine through which the transaction happens. So what I'm going to tell the end consumers is that quickly switch to another app, like, a Google Pay or a PayU, which becomes your backup system till the time a resolution is passed. But if you already have cash in your wallet of Paytm, remember what the RBI said. You can still use the money. You're allowed to make withdrawals. The end consumer is protected. You're allowed to make your withdrawals. Whatever cash you have in your wallet, you can use that. Paytm cannot take more cash from you. That is what the mandate and the RBI, notice says.